Think of a time when you had a mentor growing up who assisted you while you were in elementary, middle, or high school. Was this person a teacher or a leader at your school? Now think of a time when this mentor was a person of color. Is it harder to distinguish the roles they served at their school? Now think of a time that this mentor was a person of color and a male. Do they stand out in your school experience?
As of 2013, the majority demographic of students in public schools are racial ethnic minorities, and they comprise an even larger majority in urban schools. Yet, only 20% of teachers are racial ethnic minorities. In urban schools, the demographic gap between teachers and students is rising. So, why does that matter?
Research demonstrates that many white teachers have higher expectations for white and Asian students as compared to Black and Latino students. Some teachers underestimate the academic abilities of minorities, and other research shows that some teachers perceive Black students to put in less effort compared to white students. These expectations and perceptions matter. Studies have found that teachers' perceptions are related to students' academic and social outcomes. As a result of these concerning discoveries, researchers investigated students' perceptions to understand if student-teacher race matching has an impact on student outcomes.
The results show just that. In fact, matching teacher and students' racial ethnic background was associated with higher teacher expectations and lower student absenteeism and suspensions. The believed reason for this is twofold. First, teachers that share an ethnic racial background with their students may better understand their students' experiences, and therefore are more likely to empower and advocate for them.
And second, research has shown that students consistently had more favorable perceptions of their minority teachers, viewing them as mentors, role models, and therefore more supportive than their white teachers.
In New York City, for example, male students of color make up 43% of the public school demographic, and yet only 8.3% of the teacher workforce is comprised of Black, Latino, and Asian men. Across the nation, Black male teachers represent only 2% of educators. As the classrooms are becoming more and more diverse, the person at the front of the room often remains the same, an individual that does not resemble or share the life experience of the children they instruct.
New York City, along with other cities and states across America, have developed programs to recruit men of color into education. The problem, however, appears not only to be with recruiting men of color, but also retaining them. When men of color make it to the front of the classroom, they are often in low-income schools. Additionally, minority male teachers report that administrators repeatedly pull them out of the classroom to be disciplinarians and coaches, or they are enlisted as cultural translators for their white colleagues. Research has shown that teachers of color are more likely than their white colleagues to switch schools or leave the profession as a result of their school-based experiences, and men of color leave the profession higher than any other demographic.
So, what does this all mean? There needs to be more representation of men of color in the school setting to serve as mentors for adolescents. These educators can serve as a representation that many youth of color do not see on a regular basis, whether it is at their school, community, or in their homes.
School administration should employ more men of color as educators and not as disciplinarians. They should be recruiting roles in the teacher, counselor, administrative, and student support level. They should hire faculty and staff according to the diversity within their student population, communities, and the country at large.
They shouldn't have to be the vessel for the administration's racial insecurities. They should be the decision makers and the leaders of their schools.
So can you think of a time that you had a mentor in school that was a male person of color? Hopefully in time, we can all work together to change the systematic racism in our educational institutions, and we can bring that percentage higher.
Representation matters.